Karen parked on my farmland without permission, so I tilled her SUV into the soil. Have you ever had someone trespass on your property, acting like they own the place and push you to the point where you snap? That's exactly what happened to me. Jacob Miller, a third-generation farmer in the rolling hills of Iowa. My land isn't just dirt, it's my livelihood, my legacy, and my family's future. So when a shiny black SUV started parking on my fertile fields every Sunday, driven by a woman who scoffed at my polite requests to move, I knew this wasn't just about a car. It was about respect, or the complete lack of it. The trouble started when a new flea market opened a mile down the road. Every weekend, folks from the nearby city of Cedar Rapids flooded in, hunting for bargains. My farm, with its wide, flat fields, sat right next to the market's overflowing gravel lot. At first, I didn't mind a few cars pulling onto the grassy edge of my property. I'm not heartless, people need a place to park. But then came Karen. Her SUV, always gleaming like she'd just driven it off the lot, rolled right onto my freshly tilled soil, flattening rows I'd spent hours preparing for corn. The first time, I figured it was a mistake. I walked over, boots sinking into the earth, and tapped on her window. "Ma'am, this is private property. Could you park in the market lot instead?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. She barely looked up from her phone. "It's just dirt. Relax. I'm not hurting anything." Then she waved me off like I was a fly buzzing around her coffee. I stood there, stunned. My soil isn't just dirt. It's the lifeblood of my crops, rich with nutrients and carefully tended to avoid compaction or contamination. Cars leaking oil or grinding tire tracks into the ground can ruin it for seasons. I tried again the next week, even putting up a small "no parking" sign. She ignored it, rolling her eyes when I asked her to move. "Find a hobby farmer," she snapped, slamming her door. That's when I knew this wasn't a one-time thing. This was war. I spent days stewing, my anger growing with every Sunday she showed up. My wife, Clara, urged me to call the sheriff, but I didn't want to escalate things that far, not yet. I talked to my neighbor, Old Man Tucker, who's been farming longer than I've been alive. He chuckled, leaning on his fence post. "Boy, some folks only learn when you hit 'em where it hurts. You got that tractor of yours, don't you?" His eyes twinkled with mischief, planting a seed in my mind. That's when I met Sarah, a young woman who ran a booth at the flea market. She'd seen Karen's SUV on my land and overheard her bragging to friends about free parking on some nobody's field. Sarah, barely 20, had a fire in her eyes when she told me how Karen had haggled her down to pennies for a handmade quilt, then laughed about it. "She's the kind who thinks rules don't apply to her," Sarah said, crossing her arms. "You should do something." Her words were the push I needed. A plan started forming, one that would teach Karen a lesson she wouldn't forget. The next Sunday, I was ready. Karen's SUV rolled in right on schedule, squashing my soil like she owned it. She strutted off to the market, her designer purse swinging. I waited until the crowd thickened, then fired up my tractor, a beast of a machine with a tiller attachment that could churn through anything. I didn't touch her car directly. Instead, I tilled the field around it, deep and thorough, turning the ground into a soft, muddy quagmire. The SUV sank a good 6 inches into the soil, its tire swallowed by the loose earth. I didn't stop there. I kept tilling, circling her vehicle until it looked like an island in a sea of churned dirt, impossible to drive out without getting stuck. When Karen returned, her scream echoed across the field. "What did you do to my car?" she shrieked, stomping toward me as I leaned against my tractor, wiping sweat from my brow. "Ma'am, I told you not to park here," I said, calm as could be. "This is farmland, not a lot. I had to till my fields today. You parked in my workspace." Her face turned beet red. "You're going to pay for this. I'll sue you. I'll call the cops." She fumbled for her phone, but before she could dial, Sarah appeared, holding up her own phone with a video already recording. "I got it all," Sarah said, grinning. "Every time you parked here, every time he asked you to move. Even you flipping him off last week." Karen froze, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. The sheriff arrived 20 minutes later, a deputy named Martinez who knew my family from way back. Karen was in full meltdown mode, ranting about her ruined SUV and demanding I be arrested for vandalism. Martinez listened patiently, then turned to me. "This your land, Jacob?" "Yes, sir," I said. "Been asking her to stop parking here for weeks. Got signs up and everything." He nodded, then glanced at Sarah, who handed over her phone. The video showed Karen's repeated trespassing. her rude dismissals, even her laughing about it at the market. Martinez's lips twitched, like he was fighting a smile. "Ma'am," he said to Karen, "you're trespassing on private property. Mr. Miller's within his rights to work his land. You're lucky he didn't have your car towed." Karen's jaw dropped. "Towed? He trapped my car in mud. Look at it. Looks like you parked in an active field," Martinez said, shrugging. "You'll need to arrange a tow yourself. And maybe don't park on private property next time." He tipped his hat and left, leaving Karen spluttering. The tow truck took hours to arrive, and when it did, the driver struggled to free the SUV from the churned soil. Karen watched, fuming, as the bill racked up $300 for the tow, plus extra for the hazardous conditions. Her car was caked in mud, the undercarriage scraped from the uneven ground. As the tow truck hauled it away, Sarah gave me a discreet thumbs up from her booth. Old man Tucker, watching from his porch, cackled loud enough for the whole market to hear. Word spread fast. By the next weekend, the flea market crowd steered clear of my fields. My no parking signs were suddenly very effective. Karen never came back, but I heard through the grapevine she tried to badmouth me online, only to get roasted by locals who'd seen her entitlement firsthand. Sarah's video, posted anonymously on a community forum, got thousands of views, with comments cheering me for standing up to her. My soil recovered and I planted my corn on schedule, the rows straight and proud. Looking back, I don't regret a thing. Farming isn't just my job, it's who I am. Karen thought she could treat my land like her personal parking lot, but she learned the hard way: disrespect the earth and it'll fight back. I'm no hero, just a guy protecting what's mine. But I'll admit, seeing her SUV sink into that tilled soil felt like justice, pure and simple. So, what do you think? Was I right to take matters into my own hands, or should I have kept playing nice? Share your thoughts. I am curious where you stand.